Good.
Okay, so as you can see, Milgram violated today many ethical principles. At the time, those ethical principles didn't exist, so they're sort of a cornerstone of what happens today. However, science, we've progressed science in such a forward manner, because how could we have possibly known that that would happen? How could we have possibly known that people would continue at that level?
This lecturer is giving a pretty standard lecture. The students are paying attention, they're engaged. So what's wrong? The problem is there's no evidence of generative learning. Not to be confused with the generation effect found in unprimed testing, generative learning is a neurological function. Whitrock suggests that the brain processes information in a generative way, interpreting the input, forging links with prior knowledge, and constructing meaning from the subsequent results. Acquiring knowledge is not a passive function. The brain does not just receive and record the input. Constructivists argue that generative learning can be facilitated by encouraging students to interact with the information they are being asked to analyse. Brett Wilson reports that students work more effectively in cooperative problem-solving groups. By asking students to work with their peers in a scaffolded way, the students are enabled to argue and discuss their way to structured, integrated conclusions. They are also more able to support each other when addressing more complex or ill-structured problems. In addition, the extra support allows them to question the information being presented, leading to dialogue around it and ultimately better learning. Let's rearrange this and see how it goes. Yeah, we'll put that in.
Awesome. Yeah, so how do you feel about the ethical principles of today compared to the way Milgram was?
Well, I thought the study was really good, and if we had the ethics that we have now back then we wouldn't have really seen that effect. I mean, Milgram had to withhold information from the participant in order to do the experiment as it was.
Yeah. What about the deceit?
There's definitely problems with deceit and for fully informed consent. I think the major problem, or biggest problem with this is definitely the stress caused to patients again. Participants who were doing the study, because they thought they were actually killing people, and whoever you ask, when you think you killed someone, there was a massive amount of distress, not maybe physically but emotionally to them at least. And though they were told after the study, there was still that period of time where they actually thought that they'd caused someone a significant amount of harm.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the scientific aspect of the study? Do you think that it was acceptable, the methodology?
Yeah, I think that the outcome justifies the means. You know, the end stuff does justify the means in this case, I think. We wouldn't have got the results that we would have if we had had informed consent.
I think all in all, generally, the outcome was definitely very positive, and we wouldn't have been able to find out any other way. So I think we have to conclude that generally, sort of like the outcome was justified by the means they used.